Oh, he caught me off guard out there. He did it. Good mountain morning to you, and welcome to another Mountain Morning Show here on Mountain Fun Life Channel. And we appreciate you joining in and following the program. And what we would like for you to do right now is to get everybody you can around you to follow the program too. Get that little texting, tweeting done, and call on the phone. Do whatever you have to do. Yell across the street. Let everybody know that Mountain Morning is coming to you live from right here in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee in beautiful, action-packed Pigeon Forge. Ain't that right, that's Mountain right. Man? We got Mountain Man here, Wayne McCarter. I'm Robert OWNBY, your host, and we're going to have some fun this morning, and we hope that the program will be not only fun, but maybe a blessing to you too. We like to try to be a blessing. We have a lot of fun, but our main goal is to try to say or do something that you'll be uplifted, blessed, and maybe get a little giggle once in a while, especially from anyway, what you got? What you got on your mind this morning?
Well,
you're looking suspicious.
I ain't got nothing on my mind.
You ain't got nothing on your mind. Ain't nothing up there at all, huh? Empty. You're running on empty. Yeah, okay. Well, another cup of coffee. I only had one earlier this morning, and I got up way before daylight. I probably got up before you did. Don't know.
I'd say so.
Yeah. Did you get up pretty early?
Pretty early, yeah.
But anyway, thanks for joining us. Now, do what we told you there. Now that's important. Oh, not only that, they need to go down at the foot of the screen on the Facebook there. They need to do what?
Well, you got to click and share, but let's get with mountainfunlife.com.
Yeah. And they can also go where else? YouTube and get on YouTube. We got so much going on here. They can find us just about on any mobile device. They can find us and follow out what we're doing. Yeah. And
a lot goes on.
A lot goes on, and we've got a lot to talk about. You know, we got springtime right around the corner, and as you can tell, the change is already getting to me. Springtime around the corner. We're going to be talking a little springtime. I have some interesting things that I have found that I'll talk to you a little bit about later. But right now, let's do the intro, and we'll be right back. And we won't. What? Oh, we're good to go. Okay. He's yelling at me out there, and he's off in the distance. I can't hear anything he's saying. Can you? Oh, we're live. Yeah. Hi, folks. We got it straightened out here. Thanks, Josh. We want to welcome all of you to Mountain Morning Show. We're in rare form this morning. It was chilly. It was frosty when we got started. We're still trying to get warmed up and going here. So, but anyway, welcome. Robert OWNBY, your host here, along with Mountain Man Wayne McCarter. He don't care what you call him as long as you call him 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and maybe even the snacks in between. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. Now we got springtime around the corner, and we're going to talk a little bit. I found some scripture text. You know, I always get curious when summer and spring and winter and fall and just things in general. I get on my mind. Well, is there anything about this in scripture that addresses this or is related to it? Something that's related to it, or what can I find that might give some information on it? It's interesting to do that, and sometimes I get surprised on some of the things that I find. And but anyway, we before we get into that though, I want to talk to you a little personal here on a personal level this morning. You know, I've got the book, the Historic Ogle Family book. It's kind of genealogy, stories, photo album, all combined, about 140 some odd pages. Finally published. It's available at Amazon, and it will be going on over to Barnes & Noble, and anywhere books are sold, you can order the Historic Ogle Family book on the Smoky Mountain family, world-famous family, historical family, the first cabin built in the Gatlinburg area, then known as White Oak Flats. That story is in there, and photos of the cabin. And we're going to be doing some kind of live on location clips, video clips at some of these areas a little bit later on. I guess mainly right now what we're waiting on is to get some decent weather. We don't want to get out in a we got rain coming in again today, and it's supposed to be, imagine that, and all week. They got it in the forecast for all week. But now getting back to you, I'm a little worried. I'm a little concerned about you. You know, first of all, you ain't been acting right lately, and but getting into this genealogical stuff and research and searching the mountain families and clans, and you're out of one of these mountain clans too. And I got to getting a little curious about you. Of course, I've been curious for some time, but I wanted to see what I could find out. I found out some things that may be going to shock you, surprise you at least, about your heritage and your lineage and the McCarter family here in this area. He's a McCarter. Now, don't get all excited. You're not going to prison, and you're not going to be deported, I don't think. Now, they may heavily interrogate you, prod and probe. I don't know, but
they'd be real bored. They interrogate me, though.
But now I found out some interesting things about your side of the family, the McCarter side of the family. So you want to hear them?
I'll hear them.
You want to hear them? Mm-hmm. I made a few little notes here because covering you is not easy. It was a task, and I mean, I did a little research on the McCarters and your dad, and you gave me your dad's name, and I did a little research and went back, and the McCarters are from Northern Ireland originally. Came from, you knew that though, didn't you? Mm-hmm. And they're the first known McCarter. Well, actually there were 2, but actually the earliest date I believe here is on a fella by the name of Moses McCarter. He came to Pennsylvania from Northern Ireland in the 1700s, about 1750. And he moved to Abbottsville, South Carolina from Lancaster, PA, Pennsylvania. And there was a John McCarter who came to America in 1774. 4. So I didn't know which one to start with, so I thought Moses, that's a good biblical name. And so I tracked that down, and it turns out that he is your 5th great-grandfather. He's your 5th great-grandfather, if I counted correctly. Moses McCarter. Yeah, I wondered, that's one thing I wondered about you. I knew you was related to Moses somehow or other. I didn't know which Moses or couldn't really place it, but when I found this, I thought, well, that makes sense. That you're related to he's a pretty good fella.
He's a good prophet.
He was fine. He went up to the top of the mountain. He was a mountaineer too, and that's the first time too that someone downloaded data to a tablet from a cloud. You didn't get that, did you? Went right over your head. Did you get it? When he received the commandments, the cloud came down. Written in stone and supposed to be on the heart now under the new covenant. No longer engraved in tables of stone, but written on the tables of the heart. When it gets on the tables of the heart is when the faith changes.
Might have broke one or two of them tablets. I do understand why. But he had a little temper in them too.
Evidently, he had some. That would be called righteous indignation.
Oh.
He had a little bit of righteous indignation. And he did. He threw him down. He had him a little tantrum there. He threw him down and busted them all to pieces.
I took it he didn't like cows.
Well, not the kind, not the handmade, not the kind that was handmade. Now the real ones that were, that had been created by the Creator. I think he took a liking to them because they had some of them with them when they came out of the land of Egypt. They had the cattle and the sheep and the goats and all of that, and probably even had some chickens. You got some chickens, don't you?
I believe it's a little bit of something called disobedience.
Disobedience, and to get that more narrowed down, let's narrow that on down to idolatry. Making a graven image, and they weren't pleased with what was. Moses was staying too long up on the mountain for one thing, and they didn't. They got impatient, and impatience gets a lot of us a lot of times. That impatient feeling, we just don't want to wait. And sometimes it pays to be patient and wait, but they got a little patient, and they wanted them a God that they could see and one that they could dance around, and do their ritualistic practices, and so they went to Aaron, Moses' brother, and said, "Hey, we don't know what's happened to this Moses. You went up on that mountain. It's cloudy, and there's lightning, and you're hearing all that thunder and everything. He may never come back down. So we need us a God that we can see." That we can pick up and carry along with us, a God that will, that we can do something with, not one that tells us what to do. We want one that we can pick up and carry, put him where we want to, and we can worship the way we want to worship. So, that was a little bit of disobedience there. But getting back to the McCarters, the McCarter name is interesting. It's actually from MacArthur. Like I said, we had a famous general by the name of MacArthur. What was his name? General MacArthur. Douglas MacArthur. General Douglas MacArthur. So the name McCarter is actually kind of a take off of the name MacArthur, and it means son or child of MacArthur. So that's related. There is a French form that is Now, you're going to find this interesting. There's a French form of the name. You have to watch now. Josh may start using this on you when I reveal this. Now, I'm getting ready to reveal some information here that might get you in trouble. But the French form of the name, it's not spelled, it wasn't shortened to MC, it was M-A-C hyphen C-A-R-T-A-I-R, Macaire. You have to pronounce that. Can you pronounce that? Can you pronounce your name? Yeah, it'd be Macaire. No. You got Macaire.
Okay.
You got to get that French. You'll leave that up to them. But anyway, I thought that was interesting though that there was a French form of it like that. Now the interesting thing is these Macaires, MacArthurs as they were called before this, they were prominent castle dwellers. They were lords of castles and overseers and caretakers of castles, keepers. Put it in plain.
Been for my time,
you don't.
I ain't never kept no castle.
You ain't never kept no castle.
Nope.
Yeah, well, you got a pretty nice home though. I mean, it may not be a castle, but it's it's livable. It's kind of like mine. It's a house.
Home, but it's my house.
But anyway, now this is your relatives now that your name goes back to. It traces right back to a place called. Now this was a castle, and this was one of the prominent castles that they were keepers of, and it's Dunstaffage, D-U-N-S-T-A-F-F-A-G-E. Now another spelling is D-U-N-S-T-A-F-F-N-A-G-E, Dunstaffage, is what I found in an encyclopedia. So the castle of Dunstaffage or Dunstaffnage, whichever one you want to choose, there were basically 3 families that were involved in caretaking this one particular castle. Now this is in Ireland, Northern Ireland. Wasn't France, Northern Ireland. The French were probably still on the other side, But anyway, there were the Campbells, the MacArthurs, and the McDougalls. These were 3 families that were involved. And until about the 15th century, King James I of England beheaded the chief of the family. Wasn't very nice, was it? And so that kind of and this actually happened. Now I'm not making that up. I'm not messing.
They did that bunch of old MacArthurs.
I don't either, but
stand together.
It may have been one of these other families. Now I couldn't really figure which family was in charge at this particular time, but there were 3 family clans that had been in charge of this castle: the Campbells, McDougalls, and the MacArthurs. I think maybe a 4th one here, the McDonalds. The name McDonald is from this same area. So, whichever family was in charge, the chief of the clan. I think it was a MacArthur. Yeah, I got it right here. I got my note right in front of me and couldn't read it. The chief, John MacArthur, was beheaded by James I. So, that kind of, there were some tensions going on between the Scots and the British at that time. That's before they. Now on the Ogle side, they were caretakers of Ogle Castle and several castles on the British side, and they probably faced off against each other at times because the Scottish clans that would raid into the English, and in the English the Scots would, they'd back and forth. They'd have to keep them from invading each other's warfare, wars, and that's part of it. Yeah, part of it. So we may have had family on both sides there that were clashing, since they were both sides were the castle dwellers. caretakers of these castles. But I thought that was very interesting. So, by the way, as I said earlier, the Historic Ogle Family book is now published, and when I get personal copies, I'll bring one in so you can see the cover, see what it looks like. But you can find that at Amazon, and you can visit my official Amazon Author Central page at Amazon, and now they sent me a link, I believe it was yesterday, to my email and said, hey, your book's published. And they sent a link and said you can sign up and get and join in. We'll build you a website over in Britain. So you can now visit, if you're watching around the world, from the British area over there, Britain, Australia, any English, British related places, you can go to Amazon Author Central Britain, and I have an official page that has just now been activated there that Amazon company is building. Their Amazon Author Central team, and I really appreciate them for doing that. And it was really nice of them. So now then that we found out where you came from and did a little background study on you here, maybe you'll not get in too much trouble over it. Don't worry, King James is no longer around, King James I, so he'll not come looking for you. He may have relatives though. You have to watch out now. If he's got relatives, they say, "Oh,
was a wine bibbler anyway. I ain't
yeah, you ain't it."
Drunk.
Oh, okay. You knew him personally?
No.
No, you didn't know him personally. Okay.
But I wouldn't have been a scared baby.
Okay, we're our time's moving right along now. We we got spring right around the corner. Well, I've already got. I'm sure you probably got some on your side of the road there too. The daffodils that are blooming, coming out and getting real pretty, you know. And that tells me spring is just right around the corner. Of course, the calendar tells me that too. But you know, when you see that the beauty of those flowers, I got to thinking, what does Scripture have to say about springtime or spring-related text? And I always find this interesting. It becomes an interesting study. And you probably think about things like that too, don't you, from time to time?
Mm-hmm.
You need to speak up a little bit now and talk.
Yeah, I think
speak up.
Coming, it means I can fish.
Means you can fish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you get that boat ready and get out there. And,
well, stays ready.
Well, don't forget, I like fish too. Now you catch enough. You know, you got a neighbor you can share some of them with. But anyway, I got to wondering. I found some very interesting texts related to springtime planting and new growth, and one of them is Isaiah 61:11. For as the earth bringeth forth her bud, and as the garden causes things that are sown in the spring to come forth. So, you know, I thought that was a very interesting scripture related to that mentions springtime. Now, some of these don't specifically mention spring, but they're closely related. In the book of James 5 and 7, there's another one that I found interesting. Behold, the husbandman waits for the precious fruit of the earth and has long patience for it. And we're just talking about patience. Until he receive the early and latter rain. We're going to receive a lot of rain. You know, we're really being blessed. We got 90% chance today. And now remember, he's related to Moses, not Noah. Yeah, I don't know.
Let's get this rain.
We need to get, yeah. But he knows what he's doing. I'm not worried about it.
No,
he knows what he's doing.
Still in charge.
He's in charge. But anyway, Job 29 and 23 was another interesting text. And they waited for me as for the rain, and they opened their mouth wide. There's an analogy here, an interesting analogy of a human, a person of faith. They opened their mouth wide as for the latter rain. In other words, they waited for their blessings, and they waited for him, and they opened their mouth as if receiving rain, the goodness. And I thought that was a very neat analogy. Then another one is Song of Solomon 2, chapter 2, verses 11 and 12. For lo, the winter is past, the rain is over and gone. The flowers appear on the earth. The time of singing of birds is come, and the voice of the turtle dove is heard in our land. You know, that's one of the first things. I'll get up early of a morning, and a lot of times if it's nice weather outside, I'll go out and the birds and the turtle doves, and they always get started right about daylight, and I just love to go out with a cup of coffee and just sit down on the porch and just listen. It's just music to my ears. It is wonderful.
Very comforting.
It is. And
you can hear the peace in the air.
Right.
When you do that, Brother Robert.
And
same thing.
The differences in the sounds that they make. It's always so interesting to me how that they make those different sounds. And it's just really fun and relaxing. Mm-hmm. I find it relaxing to listen to. Another one was Ecclesiastes 3, 8, and 1. This should be familiar to everybody because this is one of the most quoted and heard texts for everything. Ecclesiastes 3, 1, and 8. For everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. And of course it goes on. There's some more in there. It's talking about times. There's a time for everything that happens. And I think of this text a lot when I'm out. I'll find a bunch of rock or something, especially if I'm doing the garden or something. You know, I'll be getting those rock out and getting them out of the way. And then later on, those rock that I threw over to the side, I'll go over and I'll look at them, and I'll be needing some rock to put around a flower bed or something. So this is time to get them back, you know. I get them out of the way, and now I need them back. So it's interesting how that just the simple things that we do in life a lot of times fulfill.
You think about the flowers and the budding. You know, we can plant the seed, but brother, it's God who gives.
Oh, we have no power over bringing forth the life-giving elements. And that, yeah, I'm glad you did. That's good. We have all we can do is plant it and wait.
Exactly.
And wait.
Exactly.
So that is.
And you can take that both ways.
Yes.
It works both ways.
Well,
not only what we see with our eyes, but what you feel with your heart.
And not only with planted seed that we're seeking to grow, we think about it in a more personal aspect.
Mm-hmm.
When we ourselves are planted, you know, if it goes that far, if we're not taken out before then a time of restoration and resurrection, that which was planted comes forth the newness of life. Man, now that's a blessing. That is a blessing to know and realize that. I would hate to think that, as Scripture says, if in this life only we have hope, we're all men most miserable. If this is all there is to it, no wonder people get so depressed, commit suicide and just don't want to go on with life in general because they don't have anything to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what the blessed hope is all about, is looking forward to a time that, hey, it's tough. It may get rough and tough here now. There may be blessings, there may be heartaches, there may be troubles and trials, but one day, and that's the day that we have to look forward to and need to look forward to. Well, you know, we've run out of time. We hope you've enjoyed Mountain Morning. Thank you for joining us. And what are you supposed to say, Mountain Man? Say bye, Mountain Man.
Bye, Mountain Man.
See you, folks.